So, hello everybody. Nice to have you in our room. Nice to have you with us. We have a plan for what's going to happen in the next 1.5 hours, but we'll see how that works out. Maybe first give you a short introduction on why we do this and how we do this. So as probably most of you know by the title that's given under it, my name is Saskia, and I have worked together with Sharon now on a short introduction on how we can embrace the gray area and how we can have a foot in that comfortably, because that's what I work with. And maybe Sharon, you say why you're interested in that.
Oh, that would take up the whole, I believe that would take up the whole 1.5 hours. You might start on why I'm interested in that. But I'm interested in the gray area, which is why we get along. And it's why it's important to have a curious science mindset. Of course, giving ourselves permission to stand in the discomfort of not knowing this was, of course, the infinite mindset. And so I wanted to put something together and have a discussion about these things, because I see these things separately, but I don't really see much of anybody putting them all together and kind of doing a mastermind discussion workshop around it. So that's what interests me about this.
Okay. Any questions right now? You're all happy with our short? You basically all know us, so that's a bit, yeah. Okay, so as you see the two lab rats here, we already made ourselves the lab rats in our collaboration, but now we want to make you lab rats too in the next 1.5 hours. So we want to start off with asking you a few questions, and we're going to give you a few quotes for that. And tell me which one resonates the most with you. Just start talking when you're done reading.
Saskia, can we have the screen share and everybody's camera view?
No, I can't.
Okay.
You can have yourself in the top, the others in the top or at the side, but I can't have y'all and my screen.
Okay, I see. So what we wanted to do, I chose these quotes because they kind of touched on different aspects of the gray area and discomfort and infinite mindset. And if there's any one that particularly stands out for you, you can pick it and then tell us why you chose it.
I would go for school requires you to learn about things after the answer has already been decided, and life requires you to learn about things while the answer is in the process of being decided. And the reason that I have chosen that, I could have easily chosen most of these, is because I understood from at least 6 years old that school was teaching me stuff I didn't need to know, and life is pretty wild, and that if you want to understand stuff, you need to understand it from more than just one side, and that's the side that the people have written it from.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah, I also was triggered by that one also because I mean, a few years ago I wrote an article also telling about, in a way, like what Nick was saying about how in computer classes at school we learned about DOS because we would need these skills in our business life. But by the time I worked, it wasn't even MS-DOS anymore. So an interesting thing.
My side, only 3 of them resonate with me. The other ones I don't associate with at all. The one that probably stands out the most for me, although it's a tough call, is everyone's genius is right next to their dysfunction. I've just held this belief that our greatest strengths and our greatest weaknesses are actually 2 sides of the same coin. It's that exceptional element that makes it just kind of different from the norm, and that is a vulnerability, but also it's the thing that's special about the strength and the weakness.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
I think for me it is also a tough one, but I think the third one, your assumptions are your window on the world. Scoop them off every once in a while, or light won't come in. I think that resonates with me because if you are so focused on a specific topic, you only get to see your own view on it and your own opinion, and you get so stuck in your own world of belief that you do not see the rest of the world around you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can just share the second one because the first one also was from Isaac Asimov. Thank you, Nick, for picking it up. But the second best for me was, if you don't feel a little embarrassed by your prior opinions and assumptions, then you're not growing. So this gives me a perspective that we need always to reflect upon our views and biases and try to see from different angle and see what something has been done prior and now how it will change in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Just growing in a perspective of growing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you. And Maho, you're left. I'm going to ask him to unmute. Saskia, maybe you can write him a message.
Mm-hmm. If he wants to share that, he speaks up.
Yeah. So what we can let Saskia handle that. Is there anything else that anybody wants to share about these quotes? Or did you want to know about ours, which ones we like? I like them all because I chose them.
Yeah, I like the variety in them.
Mm-hmm. I particularly like intelligence is like four-wheel drive. It enables you to get into trouble in remote locations.
Mm.
I like that one very much. And also, I want to say not stupidity. I don't like using that. Maybe foolishness or ignorance does the same thing. So it's. I feel like I want to add to that one.
Yeah,
Saskia, which one?
Well, I'm having a hard time deciding because some of them really resonate strongly. I also like the one school requires you to learn about things after the answer has already been decided. And I love Charlie example because that is like on point, especially when we look around how fast times are changing with everything digital and technological. So yeah, and well, I'm originally German, and the approach to teaching that to students in Germany is really, well, let's say conservative. So with that background, that even resonates more. Yeah, but also as Joshua said, everyone's genius is right next to their dysfunction. I think these two are my top two, I'd say. Can't quite decide which one I like better, but yeah.
Which ones we're going to put on our living room wall? Is that what you're saying?
I like that all of these quotes seem to like shine the light on different aspects of the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've got this thing and hey, look what's on the other side at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of my area of interest of always the perspective, multiple perspectives on the same thing. So of course I'm going to push everybody in that, you know, area of discomfort or joy. If it, for some people, it depends on the person of looking at things from all angles. Yeah. So I'm glad you guys are in here to do this with me. This is super exciting.
I like your first one as well, that forged by natural selection and honed by evolution. Humans are perfectly adapted machines for a world that no longer exists, and you know the feeling that connects is that people want things to stay the same in a world that's constantly changing, or in a universe that's constantly changing. And so, you know, we're optimizing ourselves for the wrong outcome, because nothing, if you can optimize yourself for constant change, then you'll be in a better place, so then you won't get in the way of it so often.
We're kind of all getting a crash course with the pandemic, aren't we? Yeah. So, Saskia, what do you think? Because time-wise, we should start looking at the next phase. But if Maru doesn't have his,
he doesn't react to. He doesn't answer me.
Doesn't answer. Okay.
So
let's go
I think
on.
we get into the meat, huh?
Do you, what do you think? How many people do we have here to do? Do we have enough to do 2 breakout rooms?
Yeah.
Okay then.
Let's do this.
We're going to start. We have 3 breakout rooms. We have 3 phases. They're going to be 15 minutes each. And the first breakout room, you can share the next slide. It's about discomfort. And so you can put people in the breakout rooms and you guys can discuss the 3 questions. Maybe, since we don't have that many people, maybe you can discuss all 3 and then present them, pick somebody, or you could each take one when we come back in. And kind of, I don't know if you're going to be looking for a consensus, do what you want with them, but these are the kind of the things to chew on.
As we have 8 people in total and 2 people moderating here or presenting here, so I'd say we make breakout rooms of 3 people. That also means Maru will be in one. As he doesn't respond to our approaches right now, I'm not sure if he will participate, but if he doesn't, just go on and have it a nice one-on-one.
Would one of you be interested to be in one of the breakout rooms, and that way you would guarantee 3 in each?
That's what I was thinking, Saskia, if we could each be in a breakout room and we can participate. To be honest with you, the curiosity would be killing me not to be in a breakout room. So that makes me happy.
So we're going to set them up.
So it could also be something to explore, the discomfort of not being in that breakout room.
Oh, I know. I've already thought about it. Thank you. I was like, oh, I wish we had more participants, but then I can't do it. But then, you know.
Yeah. Overcoming the discomfort of not knowing it.
Yeah. Being a curious animal, yes, that is a thing for me.
So Sharon, tell me a number between 1 and 2.
1.5. 2. Mhm.
Okay. So then we'll send you off into the breakout rooms. You have the questions and have fun discussing. You have 50. Oh, we have another one participating. Hold on. I'm just going to let another one in. Michael's coming in. So I have to just
If you could take him in your room and then maybe explain to him really quick.
Do we have the questions?
Yeah,
They're right there on the discomfort.
I took a screenshot.
Oh, okay,
If you want to, I can also share them with you in the chat.
cool.
Yeah?
Yeah, please.
Okay, send them in a second. Give me a second. Okay.
Okay, then.
Hi there, back again.
Hello, back.
Hello.
You're also big on this monstrous screen. Let's put you back onto another screen. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, how was that? How was that for everybody?
Interesting.
Yeah.
A bit real.
Michael made a good point because he basically was thrown into the breakout rooms without any knowledge whatsoever. And
Straight
he
into the uncomfort
he
zone.
shared a big part of his discomfort with that.
We said lab rats. We're all being lab rats, right? Excellent. Was there, I think we go just like maybe a couple minutes if anybody wants to share something, and then we'll go into the second one. Any insights or?
Well, there was an interesting topic in our room is that apparently we were all like quite comfortable with the being in the not knowing. And it's something that we more or less enjoyed, or that we were like looking at because it enables us to explore. So that was an interesting thing to see that.
You just gave me an idea. On a scale of 1 to 10, like how comfortable is everybody here with the whoops, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong one. I don't recognize those words. How comfortable is everybody here with the discomfort of not knowing? So 10 being very comfortable and 1 not at all. Okay. Okay, interesting. This is so much fun. This is
to be honest with you, if I must be, then I guess I must be. Then I would say to you that I'm not a person who really enjoys not knowing. I like to know, so that's why I put up 5. But I can live with it for a while. But I actually have this need to know.
I don't know if it's the same for everybody else, but as somebody that loves the unknown, I know that I can't operate with people that are not obsessed, but really focused on what is known, because it's like, a bit like Joshua was saying about 2 sides of a coin. I know that I can't be the most that I can be, or I think I can add to what they can be by bringing that different side of the coin to the conversation or to the questions. But I don't know if it also is true that quite often people that want everything to be known are very uncomfortable with people that are happy in the unknown, and sometimes cause trouble for us when we're quite, we like naturally accept this stuff.
Yeah, I think I made the experience of that a few years ago when we were going for the ski holidays in France. So, it's about things about free travel in Europe. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that. It's but anyway, we had planned to leave on a Friday and to sleep in Bourg-en-Bresse, which is maybe 200 kilometers from where we wanted to go skiing. So the next morning, Saturday morning, we leave at 10 our hotel, thinking that we'll be there early afternoon, driving like slowly. But suddenly a big pileup of not a pileup, but you know, like the car traffic was, we had a huge traffic jam. It was like even marmalade, you know, like so big that it was, and we couldn't move forward. So I think we spent the next 6 hours doing maybe 30 to 50 kilometers, which meant that in the end we got to sleep in a small village in the sports center. We were like, I don't know, 100 people thrown into that. And we were like, you know, we've got this thing that where we want to go, and we know how far it is, but it's like we can't drive faster. And the next day, I think we did 10 kilometers in 12 hours because there had been such a big pileup of snow. And then, you know, they hadn't like diverted the traffic. Nobody was using Waze back then. There was no roaming in you know, like free data roaming. So all of that led to people sticking to the highways. So it was chaos. And I think this is where I was totally like chill. The kids were like totally, I mean, we could have had kids that were like crying and saying, when are we going to be there and so on, but they were all very calm. So it made me experience the discomfort of not knowing how much time it will take to go from A to B.
Mm-hmm. 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 It sounds like you won the lottery of personality types for your kids. Because if they're out of alignment with the parents, that can be torture.
Yeah.
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 I'm not saying that it was easy for my wife, but that's another
I was going to say, and your wife. I noticed that wasn't.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to the next one. And so this is the next series of questions. And you can, Saskia, put us in, you can mix the people up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Another 15 minutes.
Let's go for 10.
Let's go for 10. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So that we can have a little bit discussion time afterwards.
Okay. So see you in a second.
Okay. That was, we kind of cut Joshua off in the
I know. I think
middle.
I got my point in that last second. I think I finished the
that was
sentiment.
The same thing. We cut Jean-Louis off, and he didn't make his point yet. So.
Well, I just wanted to check in with everybody because that was we actually sandwiched it in between, this particular one in between, because it is fairly heavy. And so I want to thank you all for you know, hanging in there and being willing to be vulnerable, and because this stuff is it's interesting, but it's also it's kind of heavy, but it's stuff that people need to talk about, but we kind of don't, and people walk around it and act like they don't, you know, that it's not there. And so I really want to thank you for taking part in that and sharing. Yeah. Any thoughts or questions?
Yeah, I mean, I think out of our group, I think that Joshua made a real good point, that actually the key to mood response is often context, and it's not just environmental context, it's actually personal context as well, and where you happen to find yourself. And then it's finding the tools to, as you said, elevate yourself and bring yourself back to a baseline. And sometimes, you know, sometimes it's just, you know, kick the shoes off and say, to hell with today, I'm doing something different, you know. And especially during lockdown, you can do that, you know, like go into the garden and spend a couple of hours digging holes and putting in plants and stuff like that. And just give yourself some mind space. And I often want to do that, and I just feel compelled to get back on the treadmill, and I don't know why. It's weird. I have one advantage though. I have a son who I take down to the beach fairly frequently, and it's so nice to walk with your feet in the ice cold water, and just splash. It's nice. Right.
Nice, nice. No, you really touched on a number of things that are so important. Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, I want to maybe jump onto what Michael was saying, because I spent my day in meetings, and then I had a call around 4 as well. And then I said, let's do this over the phone, not a video conferencing thing. It's a person I never met, but she was inquiring about something. And so I said, let's do it over the phone so that I can have a walk at the same time. So it was my possibility to kind of escape the house thing. We're lucky in Belgium that it's beautiful weather, and that we've got like okay temperature, although it's still winter. So I could go outside and I could just get a walk, refilling myself with air from outside. And yeah, I need it. Yeah.
Anybody else? I had touched in our group, I had touched on something that I want to do another workshop on, is about baselines of, what we do with our energy, and, is our baseline down here for certain things, and we all have different baselines for energy, for feeling, how do we recharge our batteries, how do we get into a flow state, so I want to do one at another point, addressing the baselines, because we wanted to get into it. We're like, oh no, I can't. I don't have time for that. So I'll come back to that at another point, because it has to do with all of this and how do you keep the balance. Yeah. So I think that's about it for that one. Nobody else has anything to add? Then we will move into the third one. And Saskia, if you can mix the people up.
Yes. Yeah. So, last but not least, we promised you 3 breakout rooms. Here is your third breakout room. We're going to talk about permission now, or you're going to talk about permission now. Again, 3 questions. Here you are. And when you're ready, I'm going to send you off into the breakout rooms again. See you again in 10 minutes. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, great.
Oh, there we are. Yay. Oof.
Here we are again, yes.
We will always wait until the 60-second timer that comes after the initial timer ends.
Good sign.
Yeah.
We are typical humans. We procrastinate and leave things to the last minute. And if there was never a last minute, nothing would ever get done. So there you go.
There is a nice Calvin and Hobbes comic about that, about when you're in the right state. And Calvin at some point says, like, what is that? When you get something done, and he says, it's called last minute panic.
Yeah. There's a famous composer as well, I think, who said, if for genius to emerge, you need a really good plan and not quite enough time.
Exactly.
There you go. There you go.
Well, we had, or I had a fun moment when in the breakout, because there's the timer for the room, like that goes down. And then I was kind of trying again to make my point, and then I saw that timer go on 0, and then I'm saying, okay, again, we don't have time. And then it was like, we didn't get the pop-up that the breakout rooms were going to close. So I was like, oh, I've got more time. And it was quite funny to have that expectation of being like thrown away and not being able to finish my sentence, and then suddenly getting like extra time, and whoa.
And
No.
1 minute is so much in such situation.
Too much. Oh, the panic is gone.
It's just enough time for one person to finish their point and then another person to see there's 28 seconds left and then try to get another one in.
The adrenaline spike. Yeah. So what did you think of that? What did you think of that permission session?
Oh, permission was the subject? Because I just had a total stranger who I've never met before barge into my room without knocking. That was apparently a maintenance person, but that made me really, like, my heartbeat went up and I was not happy with the situation. I was like, this is inappropriate. The guy wasn't wearing a mask either and I've never met him before, total stranger. Anyway, I didn't know this subject was about permission, so I just felt like that was a contextually sensitive story to share about why I geeked out.
Yeah.
Wow. So that was the discomfort bit, or
It all came together. It all came together in one. I'm like, what are you doing here? I'm busy. And
See?
who are you?
My evil plan is working. We engineered that.
Going to happen. It's a part of improvisation.
God, I didn't think it was going to work. Surprise.
But then Joshua came in and absolutely nailed it for all of us in our group about permission, didn't he, Saskia?
Oh yeah, I was a bit of I'd say the outsider in the group, because Michael and Nick, they were pretty much aligned about the permission thing, and about like, permission, what's that? Why do you need that? And I'm like, can we get back to the beginning? Like, how do I get there?
Yeah, it was.
In our group, Charles made a good point that we allowed ourselves to join this meetup, even it's a permission for us to join something that it's unknown and to fly without a parachute. So we've got captured by that metaphor and allowed ourselves to see what will go on and emerge in this experiment. So like we are giving ourselves the permission to grow. That's like a conclusion for me.
You have agreed. You have given permission to be my lab rats.
That's an interesting concept, isn't it?
And no, it was. I thought it was really interesting. And we could have, it's like we came out of it with it kind of like, once you start digging into it, it gets very complex. The permission. It sounds simple, but it's actually, you can really split it.
There's a whole lot of, sorry. Yeah, I was just going to say that permission is interesting because it delves into something called authority. And I've spent a lot of time thinking about authority. And I think that, I see a lot of pain and suffering happening, especially cyberbullying and stuff like that, which relates to authority in a sense that in our lives, we have various authorities that come along, and some of them are not optional. Some of them are almost transitional, okay? But the authority remains, the person goes, but the authority remains. That would be government and teachers and that sort of stuff. Some of them are voluntary, which would be friends. We have friends, they speak into our lives, they have authority in our lives. Pastors, whatever, spiritual guides, and so on. They all have authority in our lives. So now one has to say at a point to these to folks who struggle with cyberbullying, do you understand authority? Do you understand that you kind of like need to understand that the person who's busy shouting at you or calling you names or something like that has absolutely no authority in your life whatsoever. They therefore don't matter. What they say is more a reflection of them than you. And yes, sometimes the noise is hard to ignore, but you really need to be able to set that context of authority and say, and take it from there, sort of measure it from that aspect, and maybe that could be quite useful. That's something that I've thought about. I am very clear on who can speak into my life and who can't.
And I think what you're saying, Michael, is really crucial. And you talk about cyberbullying, and we also see echoes of that in the workplace where people don't dare to do or to ask stuff. And I really think, no, I am convinced that once we understand that others don't have a say in our lives, well, we could say anything to anyone. And if people are angry, fine, let they be angry, but that it should not disturb the whole process or the whole things that we have, that we are set out to do.
Sure, sure.
And it's easy to say, you know.
Of
But
course.
Well, it's, yeah, I mean, you make a good point, and it's also the thing of, because I give myself permission to stand up and protect the people in a group. I just do. And if I see somebody violating, you know, the kind of the group norms in such a way where it's really hurting somebody, I step in. I can't not. And it's the permission to not rebalance, but it's, I mean, it has certain aspects of that, but it's like, no, that's not okay. You know, so I give myself the permission to speak up when things are not okay. Yeah.
I noticed you mentioned group as if you were differentiating permission you would give yourself to stand up for yourself.
Same thing.
Accurate in that observation, or?
Starts at home.
Yeah.
It starts at home, because I do not permit people to speak to me that way. But I see other people, they don't want to claim that for themselves. And so I'll wait and I'll let them, you know, give them the space to do that. But if I see that they can't, and they're seemingly distressed, you know, depending on the situation, I'm not, it's not my job to, you know, be the savior, but but in a certain situation, if nobody's standing up, I will. Yeah. The permission, to do that. Cool. Well, we've got like 10 minutes left. So I really thought that was super, super interesting. And thank you all for, again, you know, being willing to share some, you know, your thoughts and experiences. And so now we're going to prepare. Oh, wait, right. So this is the permission beast.
I like that. Nifty.
And Saskia has a good quote, and I was like, oh yeah, the quote needs to be underneath the permission beast.
Cool.
So he holds a place in our living room, and so I wanted to share that with you guys. And
I already took permission to give myself a beer, by the way. I apologize for that.
excellent. No apology necessary. See, there's permission without apology. So that leads us into the last graphic. And so I say, prepare for landing. And I wanted to point out that, you know, we say flying without a parachute, but it's, in fact, we don't need the parachute, because we all have wings of the curiosity and the ability to love. And we're all born to fly, so we don't actually need the parachute. We've never needed it.
Might not need adorable cat pictures, but we do want them.
Yeah.
Nick, I noticed the tail delightfully.
Oh, and I would argue with you that cat pictures are a necessity.
Absolutely. So then we're going to move on to slide 8, and then we can have discussion in the last minute until the time runs out. But I wanted to thank you all for the slide 8, so I put this in here. So I like we thought we'd ask ourselves, because we're being vulnerable as well. So what are we actively doing to grow our capacity for sitting in the discomfort of failure and growth? And it's, well, we're doing this. And yeah, and we really appreciate everybody joining us and participating. Yeah, and you are magnificent lab rats.
Yay.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Very thought-provoking.
Plaisir.
Isn't it? the last few minutes, if we can, if anybody wants to, any questions or anything to add, we would love it. I just wanted to make sure we finished it out and properly said thank you, because I hate it when the time runs out and that isn't done.
This graphic and the words around it resonate with me so much. When I was traveling before, I met somebody, doesn't matter where or who or anything, but he was a wise person. He told me the story about dealing with trauma. And the way he told the story was he basically created this scene where you're in a closet with these, like a small closet with these snarling hounds, you know, and they're paralyzing you, you know, they're so close to you. It's so real. They totally paralyze you, and you can never get rid of those hounds. Like, those are your life traumas. They're there for your entire life. You can't pacify them. You can't get rid of them. They're there. But what you can do is expand your closet, grow your closet outwards, like explore new parts of your closet. And I just see this picture of like a hound gnawing on this dude and talking about growth. It just like really resonated with that story that I was told before.
Thanks. That's interesting. Yeah. Well, I also like the idea of the growth mindset and the scientist mindset, the curious mindset fits in perfectly with, you know, the new discussions around having an infinite, you know, playing the infinite game, having it be, you know, something that's never finished and is constantly ongoing instead of being finite and fixed. Yeah.
I'm possibly going to break a rule, and Saskia is going to laugh, and so is Nick. I would like to just share my LinkedIn profile, and if anyone would like to connect with me, please do. I have enjoyed your company immensely. It's been a great session. I feel privileged to have been part of it. So yeah.
There's no rules broken here. I think that's wonderful. Yeah. We're the ones making the rules.
All right.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay.
Most of you are people I've met through LinkedIn, so this seems like a bizarre rule to have to start with.
Is that a rule?
Oh, no. Well,
I don't know.
Okay.
I think
I always do that.
It's a deferral to politeness.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Yes, Charles, I know we're already connected. Cool.
Just in case you forgot.
Yeah, actually, I think the only person I'm not connected here is Josh. Joshua.
Yeah, same.
Joshua.
Well, we can go, okay, I guess let's everybody put their LinkedIn in the chat.
Cool. And then we can just save the file.
Yeah.
Well, that means, God, you guys all know yours? I don't. just type my name in. Okay, I'm going to be lazy about this.
So thank you very much, Saskia and Sharon, for hosting this. I totally enjoyed it, and I love the way that you constructed it, like question by question, topic by question, topic by topic. Yeah. So it was great. Thank you.
Thank you. That's huge coming from you, my friend, because yours is like top notch.
Like we're the intermediate class and he's the master class.
Yeah. Super. Well, I hope that you know, seriously, thank you guys for joining us, and we're working on some really cool stuff, and so we'll let you know when we get some other ones out. And
cool.
Would absolutely be delighted, yeah, to have you guys join again. That would be fun.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Right.
It was awesome week. Thanks so much.
Have a good weekend.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.